Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 30 of the J Situation podcast. I'm recording this on September 8th, 2020. Man, 3-day weekends. Super cool. And also super dangerous. They sometimes throw me off my game. This time they kind of did. I actually feel like I needed Labor Day to be a work day. And instead I treated it like a holiday. The audacity. No, but I don't know. I'm going to recover from it. But man, it put me behind a little bit. And so I kind of feel like a football team who didn't quite take it seriously in the first half. And then, you're coming out of the locker room after halftime and you're like, man, I shouldn't have. How did I get here? You know what I mean? It's one of those things, but I don't know. I could be overstating that. It'll be okay. I saw that, like many of you, I saw that Joe Rogan moved to Austin and he did a podcast in his new studio, which is kind of crazy, right? He's in Texas now. Man, what a time to be alive. Today I was listening to his Mike Tyson interview. Man, Tyson is so scary. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see that fight. I am so excited about it. And I had to tell you guys, like I was listening to it and I was listening to Mike Tyson describe his state of mind and things like that. You should check that out. That interview it's epic. I'm not quite done with it yet. It's pretty long, but yeah, it's pretty. Oh man, that fight's gonna be so cool. Yeah. So last night and a little bit today, mostly last night, I've been working on some test apparatus improvements. So I don't know. That's been keeping me kind of busy. So let's get into the episode, which is, as always, brought to you by Pew Science, pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating, the simplest and most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. The suppression rating lets you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to sound at the muzzle and the shooter's ear. But they also give you hearing safe dose limits for the particular platforms on which they are tested. So that's all on pewscience.com. If you haven't checked it out, you should. It's pretty cool. And you're not going to find that information anywhere else in the world. So, it's not going anywhere. So if you can't check it out right now, that's fine. But head over to pewscience.com when you can and check it out. You can support this podcast, Pew Science, and our testing by joining at pewscience.com and also by rating this podcast 5 stars on iTunes. And I say this every time, but it's true, so that iTunes and the general public will realize that silencers and guns are awesome. 5 topics for you today. First topic, 11.5-inch 5.56 with mid-length gas. What is the world coming to? Humanity. We'll talk about that. Second topic. Knight's armament stuff. Should you care? Should you spend a lot of money on Knight stuff? We'll talk about that a little bit. Topic 3. Sound signature review 620. The Q Thunder Chicken on Supersonic 308. Oh, you guys got that review last week. Let's talk about some of those results. Topic 4, ammunition shipment finally arrived from Discreet Ballistics. That, better late than never. So we're going to be testing soon. And finally, the 5th topic, welcome to new Pew Science members, and thank you for your support. First topic, 11.5-inch 5.56 with mid-length gas. Oh man, should I get this? Here, hold on a second here. Let me go get this rifle. It's sitting next to me. Okay, I just put the rifle right here in front of me. Just kind of wanted to, so I don't forget something about it, or when I'm talking to you about this thing. So, okay, the photo you see posted with today's podcast, this is the first Pew Science 556 test host upper for 556. So this is the 11.5-inch Faxon barrel with the mid-length gas system. That's kind of the unique part about that barrel. The superlative arms gas block. You can see that decoupled there. It hasn't been assembled yet. You see it with its gas tube. The Vultor MUR upper. The Knights Armament rail adapter system, right? The RAS. It's a mid-length quad rail. Magpul Pro backup iron sights. I had some of those laying around, so those are on there. A rugged 3-prong flash hider. That's that half 28 mount I have for the rugged silencers. There's a rugged Radiant silencer there. That's my Radiant. And inside this upper is the Surefire optimized bolt carrier. And that's this is all on. Let's pick it up here. It's pretty light, actually. It's all on a machine gun lower. Yeah. Is this the most Gucci 556 silencer test host ever made? Yes, probably. If there was such a thing, if it was meant for silencer testing, yeah, this is ridiculous. You don't need that, Come on. No one needs this. Yeah, you do. Is it necessary? No, it's not. But hey, it is what it is. We have it. I'm gonna put, now that I've kind of described the little parts, I'm gonna put that bad boy right over here on the desk. Yeah, man, that's a nice rifle. I tell you what. Now, hey, is it necessary to do something like that? No. But look, a lot of I had all these parts. I just bought that handguard. I didn't have the Surefire carrier, but that was part of the test program too. So, yeah, I think it's going to be cool. The preliminary test matrix is going to allow for some 5.56 testing, I think. And so this upper in particular should be a good platform for shaking out some key variables. Okay? It should be. It's going to give us a good baseline. With AR-15 stuff, I really want to flush it all out, and why wait? We got the parts, let's build them. Let's build them and test them, That's what I think. So you'll notice I went with that Vultor MUR yet again. You keep seeing these things, right? On my builds. I just really like that upper. I like that upper receiver. I just like it, and it's cool. I was also searching for the right handguard for the 11.5-inch barrel. I tell you what, I bought that mid-length Knights handguard, that quad rail, on a whim. Like that, and that's a free float quad rail from Knights. So they used to make one. I probably still do. It's like a drop-in replacement for the old M4 that it's not free float. This one is, though. It has a barrel nut and everything that it attaches to. It's decoupled from the barrel. It's pretty cool. It turns out I like the way it lines up. It is, it doesn't have a really tiny gap between the flash hider and the rail with the barrel length, but the gas block is going to poke out just a little bit. I think that little adjustment knob with the superlative arms, I think it's going to be real slick. I think it's a good length. It's mocked up in the photo. Nothing on the upper is torqued. Okay, so I got to find some time this week to do that before we test, obviously, so I can test with it. But yeah, so just so you know, if you notice anything odd from the photo, it's because it's not assembled in its final form. It's just kind of hand tight. Everything's hand tight on that upper right now. The gas block, the superlative arms gas block, it should allow us to dial in function unsuppressed. And isn't that a weird thing to kind of say? I mean, sure, you want to tune your gun without a silencer too, but this particular upper is going to be interesting. It has a very long gas system, but short barrel length. Okay, I mean, it could be that this upper, the way it is perfect, operates perfectly unsuppressed with the gas port fully open. And then in that respect, perhaps you would not even need an adjustable gas block for unsuppressed use. I don't know. I haven't shot it yet. I know a lot of you folks have actually written to me about this barrel, this 11.5-inch mid-length Faxon barrel. Some of you have one. You say, and I quote, "That is my favorite barrel. It shoots so smoothly. It's awesome." What's another thing someone said? They said something to the effect of, "That barrel is badass. I love it. I use it on all my builds." I'm like, dang, man, really? I mean, I bought it a long time ago because I saw it and I was like, 11.5-inch mid-length. What are they doing? I must have one. So I bought one. I was like, let's do this. Let's do it. And so I did. And then it sat there in a box along with a gas tube and gas block for like a year. Because I was like, I got other stuff to do. Why the heck do I need to build another AR upper? And then I started Pew Science. So there you go. But yeah, where was I? I was talking about, oh, right. So it could be that this thing runs unsuppressed with like no gas adjustment, which would be kind of cool. It has that really long gas system. And so, let's say it does. Okay? And then let's say we add silencers to it. And the function, let's say we add silencers and the function doesn't change appreciably. That is, we don't get an overfunction, for example, or overfunction is not readily apparent. Let's say that happened. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we add silencers to this. Note that, caution. I want to caution you. That's not really what you want to do. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take a rifle and just add a silencer to it if you have the capability to adjust the gas. Okay? You can get away with it sometimes, and you might get lucky, but in general, you don't want to do that. Really, the exact order of operations, okay, will be to test the rifle unsuppressed and then close the gas system, maybe open it a few clicks for use with a silencer, and then see what we get. I wouldn't go full open right away because I really don't know how much gas we're gonna get to the back pressure. And although the dwell time is super short, like the time it takes for the bullet to pass the gas port and then exit the muzzle crown, like the time between those two events, like, okay, let me back up. Let me make sure I know folks that have listened to this podcast for a while, and you might be rolling your eyes. Oh, he's going to talk about this again. Look, we got a lot of new listeners. I just looked at the analytics yesterday, and something happened. I don't know. Someone shouted us out on social media. I don't know what happened, but like the listenership just like doubled, which is like, I don't know if it's an anomaly. I don't understand, but I think there's a lot of people listening right now. So let's talk about gas. Let's talk about gas. So in an M16 AR-15, in a gas operated stoner type rifle, your bullet's gonna pass that gas port. Okay, the bullet's being pushed by gas. At that time, gas enters the gas block and gas tube, and we're talking about direct impingement. So it travels. Then the gas starts to travel rearward to then do its unlocking magic. The time it's doing that, the bullet's still going forward. There's still gas chasing the bullet. the gas then starts to leave the muzzle crown after the bullet leaves the muzzle crown, to the barrel crown. The time it takes the bullet to pass the gas, the time it takes from the point that the bullet passes the gas port to the time the bullet exits the muzzle crown is the time that that gas port is subjected to a pressure time history from the internal barrel pressure time curve. That's a fancy way of saying that time is the dwell time. Okay, that's the so-called dwell time of the gas system. And so the mid-length gas system on 11.5-inch barrel, it's right toward the end of the barrel. I mean, you don't have much length before the bullet just leaves. So it really isn't the duration of the pressure of the total pressure pulse, the area under the total pressure time curve is not that big. The time window is just short. And so the total impulse, the area under the pressure time curve, is lower. So less gas impulse is going into the weapon. So you may be hearing this and you're like, well, dang, Jay, that sounds like the perfect freaking gas system and barrel length for a silenced AR-15. And I'd be like, yeah, it sounds great to me too. That's why it's sitting on my desk. But, you know, the argument against that is, well, not everyone has that. So why don't you test 11.5-inch with a carbine length gas system? Because there's a lot longer dwell time and everyone has that rifle. And we need to know the gas blowback and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I know. And we're going to test that. But it is what it is right now with this. And that's what I'm saying. So now I've kind of explained why this is what it is. So the dwell time's super short. Okay, so I don't know how much back pressure we're going to get when we add a silencer. When you add a silencer, what are you doing? Well, you're adding a flow restriction, like we always talk about, right? Because it's going to take you're lengthening the barrel when you add a silencer. I mean, you're not spinning the bullet more in the rifling. I mean, you're not physically lengthening the barrel, but you are lengthening the amount of, I guess, free volume that has to be overcome for the gas volume that's coming out of the cartridge. So you're in effect limiting, you're increasing the time it takes to vent gas to atmosphere in a closed system. Okay? You're increasing internal weapon impulse by adding a silencer, right? That's why it's quieter, because you're delaying the combustion gases from entering the atmosphere. You're delaying that event. And that's how we measure back pressure, right? We look at the total, the rise time to peak impulse. Anyway, that's, you can listen to previous podcasts. That's beyond the scope of this talk right now. But what I'm saying is I don't want to take any chances and have this gas port fully open and for lack of a better example, put the long version of the rugged surge on the freaking rifle and then watch as I hammer my receiver extension with the buffer and carrier like it owes me money, when all I would have to do is just close the gas system a little bit, go bit by bit, see if I eject. And if I eject and I don't lock a mag back, open it some more. If I lock the mag back, close a little more. Find the sweet spot. Okay, just a safety measure. I'm just telling you guys, don't go putting silencers on your weapons willy-nilly. Gas-operated weapons. If you have an adjustable gas system, take advantage. If you don't have an adjustable gas system, be aware of what you're doing. Get a heavy buffer for example, as a safety precaution first, don't be beating up your gas-operated weapons with silencers, guys. Know about the platform. Talk to someone. Message me. DM me. Instagram, Pew Science LLC on Instagram. The J Situation on Instagram. DM me. I promise. Or email me, tech@pewscience.com. Ask me a question. I would rather you ask me a question than you break something because you don't understand how these systems work. And you know what? If I don't know the answer for your particular weapon system, we're gonna solicit questions from the audience, and there's a huge audience. Okay? Or I'm gonna direct you to someone who can answer it. Because I want you guys to do this right, and I don't want you guys to break stuff, okay? And so I'm not, like, 5.56 is not, like, super crazy time, so you're probably not going to break your gun by putting a silencer on it, but, like, I can tell you this much. You put, like, let's say you're doing, like a AR-10 instead of an AR-15, or, like, an AR-308. There's differences between the AR-10 and AR-308. It's not as standardized as the AR-15. Okay, what I'm trying to say, 308 has a lot more impulse. There's a bigger case. You got a longer duration burn. It's a lot more gas in the 308, and so you can. I've seen 308s be damaged. I've seen semi-automatic 308 weapon systems be damaged from adding a silencer without taking into account gas restriction or flow restriction from adding a silencer. Okay, so all you silencer nerds and silencer enthusiasts from back in the day, you guys know this. This is old hat to you, and if you don't know it, if you weren't taught it, you figured it out because you broke something, or like you're like, huh, that's weird. My brass ejected into, like, I was shooting at the outdoor range, the public range, and normally my brass just hits my neighbor in the face, but it hit the guy in the face 5 lanes away from me. Why did that happen? It's like when you're shooting like an HK, like, you know, well, like, and you guys remember, like, the first time you shot an MP5 with a silencer, like, you shoot the MP5 without the silencer, you're like, man, that brass ejected with authority. You're like, oh, HK is so cool. Man, I love my MP5. Then you put the silencer on it, you're like, where'd my brass go? You're like, brass is like in the stratosphere. You're like, huh, that's interesting. And then you forgot that, like, you could have put like the suppressed locking piece in your HK, and then like everyone else was like, well, you never need the suppressed locking piece. But then, like, you actually look at like the diameter of your rollers and your roller lock gun, you're like, huh, maybe I do need a suppressed locking piece. Anyway, we're not going to talk about HK today. I'm just saying, like, some of you know what increased gas impulse can do to a weapon system. Some of you don't. That's fine. But yeah, you're learning today. So what I'm saying is we're going to be careful. At least I'm saying that we're going to be careful. Hopefully I don't forget something and break all my guns. Yeah. Speaking of gas, the gas block. The gas block. You'll notice it's a clamp-on type. It's a clamp-on gas block. Never had an issue with these. Never have. Some folks don't like them. Some folks don't like the clamp-on. I've had good luck with them. I don't know. I've never had them come loose. I've used them a lot. I use them on I use 5.56, 308. I put these bucks on everything. I always torque the screws with the proper torque, though. I don't Loctite them because I assume they're going to get so hot that any Loctite wouldn't do much anyway. I'm certainly not going to rock set them. I'm not an animal. Okay, I'm not going to use rock set. What am I? What, I want to put sand on my threads? Miss me with that, man. I don't use rock set. So anyway, so the rail. Oh, wait, maybe we should talk about, no, let's not talk about the rail. Let's talk about the silencer. Yeah, so that silencer is the Rugged Radiant. That really doesn't have anything to do with the test host. It's just in the picture because, you know, I think it's a machine gun. It's a machine gun in the picture. The Rugged Radiant is a machine gun silencer that weighs like nothing. So yeah, I thought it was cool. You know what's interesting about that? It's a 30 caliber silencer. I want to test it on this. I just thought of another variable in the test matrix for 5.56, I'm going to change to the 5.56 end cap. It's going to increase back pressure. It's going to reduce sound. I know it increases back pressure, not because I've measured it like empirically, like I haven't done the calculations, but I have used the 5.56 end cap on like my 10.5-inch piston gun with, I believe it was the Razor, the Rugged Razor. I have used it and I noticed that it increased back pressure. So I was like, huh, that made a lot of sense. I was like, that's exactly what I would think would happen. So that's interesting. So I just thought about that. And, you know, I was talking to one of you guys on Instagram asking me about flash suppression, and they were, using night vision too. And they were talking about, well, I was telling them that titanium flashes, it burns, little particles of it burn and flash at night, and the daytime too. You can often see titanium sparks fly when you shoot out of a titanium silencer. And so the Rugged Radiant has, the forward section has titanium baffles, and then the end cap is titanium. I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if all other things equal, not using the flash hider end cap, but like the regular steel 5.56 end cap, if that reduces the flash on the Rugged Radiant. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it does. I bet you still get sparks from the freaking from the forward titanium section on 5.56. But well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Anyway, what I need to do is get with some of those flash hider end caps. That's what I need to do. I don't have any of those. Anyway, so that's the Radiant. You know, the Radiant, oh man, I don't know how much I want to say because I have another silencer coming up to review. I want to compare it to. I will say the Rugged Radiant has lower back pressure than some silencers, but not as low as some others. I guess it has lower back pressure than the Silencer Co. Omega does, but it's louder. So yeah, and it has higher back pressure than like the Trash Panda and the Sandman S do. So, but it's light. I don't know. It's durable. We'll see. I think it's gonna be cool to use it with this gun because I think this gun is like a pretty light gun. Overall, it's just a light gun. It's 11.5-inch barrel. It's not heavy. And, you know, not having an optic on it, having just the iron sights on it, makes for a pretty light machine gun. I think having the Radiant on there would be fun, just to dick around with it. But, you know, this is going to be a test out, but it's just a for instance right here. Anyway, so that's enough about the silencer. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. If you're interested in the Rugged Radiant sound signature review on Supersonic 308 out of a bolt action, that is on pewscience.com. Let me see what review that is. That is this review 6/12. Okay, so that was back in June, mid-June. Wow, mid-June? September? How is that possible? Yeah, so if you want to go read that, that's fully characterized. And then if, you know, we'll talk about the Thunder Chicken later today on this podcast, how that was actually compared with the Thunder Chicken in some of the charts and stuff. So, you know, what we're doing is we're comparing the silencers as we go to each other. So the Radiant's in there if you're interested. We tested both the long configuration and the short configuration on Supersonic 308 bolt action. So it's there. Okay, yeah. So more about the host. The rail covers that came with the Knights quad rail, they make for a pretty thick grip if you're into like holding around the handguard. You know, compared to those modern M-Lock rails, even the ones from Knights, like the URX 3.1, the URX 4, they're pretty. This is pretty fat with those on there. But, you know, this is a machine gun in the way it's configured right now. And so if I'm going to do a lot of full auto stuff, I'll probably add a vertical grip, because a vertical grip with a machine gun is typically pretty good. I find that to be um, welcome. A welcome addition to a machine gun for controllability. I like to have a good grip on it. But for right now, I think for the rail panel should be fine for silencer testing. I do like them. I think they look slick, and I think that it'll just be good for the test upper for handling. I think it'll be good. Now, the iron sights that you see on there, those are the steel Magpul folding sights. They're the Magpul Pro sights, I believe they're called. The regular sights that Magpul sells are made of plastic. And so I'm not really into that for a rifle. I think it's kind of weird. So I know these sights are on here, so I can be reasonably sure what I'm aiming at. Look, it's just sound testing, but it'll be nice to have a functional rifle too. Like I'm not just gonna use this for sound testing. Like I'm gonna use it for sound testing, but I'm also gonna shoot the thing. It's cool. Look at it. I mean, look at it. Look at that thing. Does that not look like a cool freaking rifle? I mean, come on, man. I mean, if I like it a lot, I might just, I don't know. What if that's like, what if that becomes my favorite 5.56 upper? You know, because it's so handy. It's all small. I mean, I like the way it looks. You put a little infrared laser on the front of that rail there. Get some night vision. Have yourself a nice little pig killing machine gun there. I mean, 5.56 ammo is cheaper than 300 blackout. Get a little 3-round burst on some pigs, IR laser. I don't know, just a thought. Just thinking. You wouldn't even have to put an optic on there. Could you imagine? You just shooting your M16 from the hip with an IR laser? I guess that's technically possible. I guess some people do that. Anyway, now an important thing in this upper is the bolt carrier group and the spring and the buffer. Those are all Surefire. That's the Surefire optimized bolt carrier. For this initial test, I don't think I'm doing A5, guys. I mean, I might. If I can, I might bring another lower out there, put the A5 on it. See, I'm hesitant because I want everything the same. I want the same trigger. I want the same for the reciprocating resistance in the lower. I'm oh man, that it really begs the question: do we want to change anything? And I'm not sure. So yeah, so we'll have to think about that. But I just don't think the A5 will be in the cards right now. Just because if we're going to be doing sound testing and we have all these other variables, with the bolt carrier, I think we can test the bolt carrier stuff, like the Surefire, the LMT, and the mil-spec. I don't think we need the A5 for that. And I think I said this last time too, because the Surefire can't even use the A5 unless you put a spacer in there, right? Because there's a shorter, so I'd have to put like a custom space. I bet I could use quarters. I bet I could put some quarters in the receiver extension in the buffer tube, kind of like you do with 308 ARs when you can't get the right thing in spec because there's too many spec differences and no one builds them right. That's a long story, but I could do that. So maybe not the A5. Anyway, but if we use the 3 different bolt carriers, the Surefire, the LMT, and the mil-spec, and the difference with the same gas setting, for example, is that we get a different ejection pattern. Well, that's interesting. And then, we'll have to adjust gas and see what we get. I haven't written the test matrix yet, so we'll have to see. But now you've seen the first 5.56 test upper for preliminary testing. Okay, there it is. It's real. It exists. So the only other 5.56 sound testing I've done with PewSoft has been on 16-inch AR-15, but that rifle had an unknown buffer system and gas block configuration. So I don't want to publish data from that because I don't know what it was, and it might not be useful to you. And so this should be much more scientific. Okay, that's some background for you. Okay, topic 2. I just wanted to hit this real quickly here. Knight's armament stuff. Should you care about the Knight stuff? Look, I don't know. Honestly, look, they win a lot of military contracts. Their stuff is solid by all accounts. They're responsible for some of the coolest technology we use as gun people. Is the rail system on the upper, that mid-length quad rail, is that worth it? I mean, I don't know. It looks awesome. It feels awesome. It's made well. Feels made well. Seems strong. I don't know. I don't know what else to judge a handguard on. I mean, stiffness. I mean, I don't know. It seems stiff. It seems relatively easy to install. It's not like that URX4 monstrosity. It's crazy time, man. I bought a URX 3.1 as well, but it's 13.5 inches long. And so that one's going to have to be for the 14.5 inch upper test upper, the 14.5 mid-length test upper. That handguard is going to have to be for that. Hey, by the way, all I need is a barrel and a gas block. I just need a 14.5 inch barrel and a gas block and a gas tube. And that upper is going to be able to be built because I have the handguard already. Isn't that wild? Oh, and I have another Voltor MUR. You know what I'm saying? So I have that. I just need a barrel. Oh, dude, I just need a barrel. I looked on Faxon's site the other day, and the 14.5s were sold out. I don't know. Maybe I should get a different 14.5. I don't know. Whatever. I'll have to find out. I'll have to see. And then I'll just need an 11.5 inch carbine length barrel. I'm sorry, 11.5 inch carbine gas system length barrel, which begs the question, do I still go with a longer handguard for that? Like another one of these guys, you know what I mean? Or do I use a short handguard so it's easier to get to the gas block? You know what I mean? I don't know. Age-old question, I guess. I'll look at some photos and see what people do. I'm not really familiar with a lot of those 11.5 inch guns. Like, it's not my thing. This is like my first 11.5 inch gun. So, I don't know. Okay, back to Knights. Yeah, I think I like this stuff. I think I like Knight stuff. I think I really want to test their silencers. I'm being told that the flash suppression of the Knight's Armament silencers is better than Surefire. It's better than everything. So I mean, if you're shooting under night vision, hey, it can be pretty important if you have a visible light signature that you need to deal with. Okay, I can tell you, you're under night vision and something bright's going on, you're gonna have a bad time sometimes. I say you're gonna have a bad time. It's not that you're gonna have a bad time. It's just that it's gonna be really bright to you. I'm not gonna be testing flash yet, but it's something. I don't know. I think we really want to evaluate sound, and I would love to evaluate the sound of the Knight's Armament silencers. If they're super quiet or something, that would be cool. I mean, well, hey, what if they're not? Like, what if they're like mediocre in sound, but like awesome on flash? Who knows? Well, we'll find out eventually, but I don't know. All in all, I like Knight stuff. I like a lot of the Knight stuff. I love the way it looks. I like the way it works. It's all functional stuff. They don't really dress things up. It's all made to work, obviously, because it's pretty much just military contract stuff. They produce it in mass. I mean, it's mass produced by them, I think. Someone the other day was saying someone else makes their stuff, but that might be true for certain parts. I don't know. I'm not sure it matters that much if the things are made right. But yeah, so the verdict for me so far, I've been wanting to get into some Knight stuff just because I don't have a lot of the stuff, and so far it's cool. I mean, I'm sure some purists are going to scream when they see this Knight's handguard on a Voltor upper because they're like, whoa, it's not an SR-15, bro, and like your gas system isn't proprietary, and I'll be like, I'm sorry. But give me time. I'll look. I'll go broke eventually doing this. Just you wait. But right now, man, I keep looking at this upper. I just like it right now. So we'll see. Maybe it's the old school quad rail. I think that's kind of what I like. Okay, topic 3. Sound signature review 620. The Q Thunder Chicken. Yeah. Q Thunder Chicken on Supersonic 308. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about that. Pretty big review, right? A lot of folks were really wanting to see the silencer tested. Were you guys surprised at any of the results? I mean, in reality, there really wasn't anything groundbreaking in the review other than the fact that the Thunder Chicken is very similar in loudness to the Dead Air Sandman TI. And although it dumps gas pretty quickly early in time, it's longer than the Trash Panda. So it has a higher back pressure than the Trash Panda. Okay? If you haven't read the review, you might not know that. I talk about that in the review. I know it's long, but I'm pretty sure in the summary I talk about that. So you don't, like, if you wanted to scroll down to the end and where it says Pew Science Subjective Opinion and just read that part, it'll tell you all about it. These are things some of you knew already. Like you knew that it was quiet, like Dead Air's quietest Sandman silencer, the Sandman TI, and you knew that it had higher back pressure than the Trash Panda. You would have to know that. Well, no, that's not true. I mean, you might not know that longer silencers have higher back pressure. You might not know that, but now you do. So that's cool. Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply that you should know that necessarily, but it should be intuitive to you now that for a silencer of the same design, if you were to lengthen it, it most likely traps more gas, which means it has more flow restriction, which means it's quieter, which means it has higher back pressure. You feel me? So that should be like a logical progression in your mind now after seeing the data. So I hope that's apparent to you. Now, I think that to see, in short, I think that to see that all that quantified, I think is helpful now because it's all in black and white with numbers now. So let's look at some of the numbers. The Thunder Chicken, has a higher peak sound pressure at the muzzle than the Sandman TI, but it has a lower impulse. Okay, let me pull up the data because I made a graph for myself internally here because I was looking at this earlier. Yeah, so it has like way lower impulse at the muzzle, but higher pressure. It's interesting. So in this case, the Thunder Chicken is actually quieter than the Sandman TI at the muzzle. It's quieter. Now, in fact, it's also quieter than the CGS Helios at the muzzle. But at the ear, things are a little different. They're a little different. And the Helios is still quieter at the ear. And not just in this test. In every test I've done of the Helios, it always gets a better rating at the ear on 308. And it's weird. Like, that old adage, well, if your silencer is quieter at the muzzle on a bolt gun, then it's going to be quieter at the ear. That's not true. And me saying that, I know that sounds crazy. Okay, I know it sounds crazy. Believe me. I've already come to terms with the fact that I sound crazy, but that adage is wrong. It's just wrong. And now we're seeing that. And so why is that? Why is the Thunder Chicken quieter at the muzzle, but louder at the ear than the Helios? I don't know. I actually don't know. The analytical hearing models are showing it. So that's one thing to think about right now, okay? So have that in your left hand in your back pocket. The other, in your right hand, you have the anecdotal experiences agreeing with it too. Like everyone who shoots it back to back or owns them back to back also reports the same thing. Like they're like, oh, the Helios is quieter to me. We're shooting this bolt gun. So it's like, huh. The math shows it, and the experience, the real shooter impression shows it. So what is it? Is it the initial gas dump of the Thunder Chicken? Like, does something happen that the sound propagates differently? Like at the muzzle, is the sound just, because it has such a lower impulse at the muzzle, is it past the point where it's like, okay, that amount of lower impulse really makes a difference? Because it has lower impulse at the ear too. Now, it has way higher pressure at the ear though. So that it could be that the PI curves, see, and that's the one thing I was thinking about. It could be that the PI curves at the ear are too complex. This is actually me. This is really stream of consciousness right now. Like I'm not, like I didn't plan to talk about this. So bear with me for a second, but there is something to know about PI curves. And I do talk about this in the Silencer Sound Standard. Actually, there's a reason why we have different PI curves at the muzzle and ear. And I'm going to get very technical for a second. Okay, so bear with me. In pressure impulse space, ISO damage curves that represent a certain level of response of a system depend upon not only the gross amplitude of peak overpressure and impulse or average, depending on what you talk about, but they also depend on certain characteristics of the wave shape. Because of that, we have separated muzzle and ear data into two distinct PI spaces, two distinct regions that are governed by different sets of rules. You can think of these. You can think about these as two different worlds. They have the same. The worlds have the same shape. They have the same trees, the same water, but people might breathe a different gas on one of the worlds, or maybe there's different gravity. Okay, the worlds look the same, but they have very different operational parameters inside them. And the reason, there's a couple of reasons for this. I'm going to distill this down quickly. One of the principal reasons is because the shooter's head is in the way when we measure the sound near the ear. I wish it was not. And in the very beginning, in the very, very, very beginning of this, I debated. And I almost did away with the shooter's head. But I didn't want to, because then it would be so radically different and it would than anything ever done to take away the transfer function of the human head physically, to the point that people would question even more than they're already questioning. And so I had to find some common ground with the existing methodology. And so I kept the head there for both those reasons and for practicality. And I say this in the Silencer Sound Standard. The shooter's head being there does some things But if it's there in every test, and this is the important part, guys, if the head is there in every test, these answers should still be okay. Okay, and the head's there in every test. And like I said, the anecdotal experience, me shooting it, some other people shooting it, some Pew Science members that own both these silencers that have shot it, they confirm that the Helios is quieter. So the math is still showing it. It's just that the PI space is so weird for these silencers. It almost works every time. Like if I wasn't using the hearing damage models like this, the PI space it almost works. Like it almost works, but it doesn't work all the time. And that's why, like in the silence, if you read the silencer sound standard carefully, like, you'll see where we introduced the tertiary metrics, because we had to we had to essentially map our space, because we were in remember those two different worlds I was talking about? Like, we have to have a map, because we'll lose ourselves, like we'll get lost. And so I know I'm like getting really down in the weeds right now, but like the bottom line is we need to do some more research and see exactly why the Helios is quieter. I think it's because of timing of peaks. Quite simply, it's because I know it is. Okay, no, it's because of the timing of the peaks. I just don't know exactly what timing, when is the thing doing it. And after talking to CGS, I mean, CGS kind of had that same thought too, just because of the way the silencer is designed. But I don't have a concrete conclusion to be able to say, oh, it's because at a time of 32.1 milliseconds, this happens, whereas usually it doesn't. And then there's a phase change, and then you have, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't have that explanation for you, so I don't want to lie to you and say I do. But I do know that it has something to do with amplitude and phase. I mean, it obviously is a sound wave, it's a pressure wave, but that must be it. Look, if I hadn't heard it myself, and if we didn't have other people who have vouched for it too, I still might be doubting it, but I'm not, okay? Because the data has shown me time and time again that it's right. It's actually, this is why a while back, if you listen to this a while back, I don't remember what episode it was, but I forget which one. I did say I thought I had made a mistake the first time I tested it. I didn't have anyone else's experience at the time to back up my findings. And so I thought I was crazy. Like, I literally thought I was crazy. I was like, what is going on? It turns out I'm not crazy. It turns out after multiple tests, the Helios is quieter at the ear. Now, does that matter for you? I have all these analytical things. I'm going to minimize these windows on my computer. Oh, that was almost dangerous. I was getting all riled up. So does this matter to you? For the let's talk about the Thunder Chicken. I mean, it might matter to you if you're concerned with the quietest thing to your ear when you're shooting a bolt gun. Now, is the Thunder Chicken a loud silencer? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. Is it loud? Trust me. If the Thunder Chicken was a loud silencer, I'd tell you. You can be assured of that. I mean, could it be quieter on Supersonic 308 for its size? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. I mean, the Helios has proven that it could be. The Helios is smaller and it's quieter at the ear. So we already know, factually, objectively, that the Thunder Chicken could be quieter. It could be, but it's not. Okay. Now, we haven't done a lot of testing on 300 blackout subsonic yet. I've done some, not a lot. Now, I'm going to venture a guess, an educated guess, that the Thunder Chicken is pretty quiet on subsonic 300 blackout. So, is the Thunder Chicken worth your money? I think it's a pretty good silencer. I think that it's a pretty versatile silencer. I think that supersonic performance is competitive with some models. And I think that it might have a subsonic trick up its sleeve due to baffle geometry and volume. It has a pretty large bore, so it might be good for accuracy. Is it durable? Well, it's titanium, so it's definitely not for your machine gun. It's definitely not for your machine gun. Unless the machine gun is subsonic 300 blackout or something that doesn't get as hot. You know what I mean? Or like or if like it's on like a decently long-ish barrel and you're not doing mag dumps. It's not like it's not like if you shoot a mag through a Thunder Chicken, you're going to break it. That's not going to happen. But if you continue to shoot mag after mag of 5.56 through a machine gun, through a 100% titanium silencer, you're going to have a bad time. Like that Radiant that I put in the picture for this podcast, like, don't get it twisted. That is not 100% titanium silencer. That is a titanium silencer with stellite front baffles. That is a different animal, and it is overbuilt. The rugged Radiant is heavier than it should be for its size, and it's light because it's small. Okay, the rugged Radiant's no joke. That thing is not built. That thing is I've said it before. It's a freaking machine gun trash panda is what that is. That's what the rugged Radiant is. I mean, it's not exactly, and especially not on subsonic probably, but anyway, if you go back a couple episodes and I talked about that. But what I'm saying is the Thunder Chicken durable? I mean durable's relative. I guess is what I'm saying, right? Because it's titanium. So, like I said in the review, the Cherry Bomb, the steel, the heat treated steel muzzle brake, you have to mount this on the Cherry Bomb to use it. The Cherry Bomb can help erosion due to diffuse. It diffuses the muzzle blast. So what it's doing is it's spreading it out over a larger surface area. So the direct jetting of the muzzle blast doesn't impact the leading edges of the first baffle as much. Notice I'm qualifying these statements with like things like as much, and can help, not eliminate, but it can help reduce erosion. It won't let the gases impinge as much on the first baffle. I'm not saying it's a catch-all, done deal solution wonder thing. It just it helps. It's a feature. Honestly, it might be a feature that's serendipitous. I don't know if that was a purposeful feature, but it is. Regardless, it is a feature. Now, the Cherry Bombs are good for using a silencer on multiple guns, because you can get them in different thread pitches, right? And then this is like the same mount, just like any other type of mount, I guess. I like the simplicity. I like the simplicity of the Q silencers in a way. This is my personal opinion. They remind me of direct thread in a way, because it's like they're direct thread that doesn't come unscrewed because of the taper mount. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? I've talked about this before, actually, how I'm not a huge fan of mounts like this. Like, I had a bad experience with a mount once with the taper that was in a different place, and it was a whole thing, and it came unscrewed, blah, blah, blah. But I have started to like the taper mounts more and more as I've used more of them. The SIG taper or the Q taper, whatever you want to call the taper, it's the same one that SIG and Q use. I'm pretty sure Ethan designed that at SIG, and then now he's at Q, so it's like the same one, right? Or whatever, whoever designed it. I do like it. I'm warming up to it. But you know what? I still like secondary retention, man. I like the rugged mounts for that. I just do. But for simplicity and ease of use, man, if I could stick a silencer on my barrel with no mount and have it not come off, That's what a taper gives you, theoretically. Okay, that's okay, all of you who have used silencers on pistols, or like any silencer where it's like direct thread, where you threaded it on, you're like, man, I hope this doesn't come loose. That's gonna suck. Well, that's kind of what these tapers are doing. Look, unless you if you accidentally don't tighten it enough or something goes wrong with it, yeah, that's a bad day. But look, oh, and there's something else that can happen, like the cherry bomb. It doesn't work very well as a standalone muzzle device. I mean, it reduces the recoil a little bit when you're using it without a silencer, but it's pretty loud, right? I mean, if you use it without a silencer, I would basically view the cherry bomb as adding a taper to the end of your non-tapered barrel and protecting your original barrel threads. Like that alone, for me, like me personally, it could be a benefit of using something like the Thunder Chicken on a hunting rifle, for example. Like here's a hypothetical. Let's say you're rolling around in your four-wheeler, or you're slamming around your rifle or something, and you don't have the silencer attached yet, or you had to take it off because of a length limitation in your transport, which is sometimes a real concern. If you have the cherry bomb on there, that cherry bomb, that's going to take the abuse of hitting the trees, the dirt, etc., and then you can attach the silencer when you need to later. Your original barrel threads are going to be okay, which is cool. I've done something similar with the rugged mounts. For example, I had a rifle get pretty beat up on the way to somewhere when I was hunting, and then I put the silencer on later, and the mount was pretty freaking banged up. But, the silencer was fine. I guess this could be kind of a niche case, and it could be a weird example, but I do see silencer mounts sometimes for rifles as sacrificial lambs. I guess, for lack of a better term, okay? I mean, I do. And I don't know if a lot, like, have you guys heard that argument much? I do think it is true. And the reason I'm saying it for talking about the Thunder Chicken is because they make direct thread versions of these silencers. Like, well, so what about the Full Nelson, for example? The Full Nelson, it's like the Thunder Chicken, but it's direct thread, okay? And so it can thread to a conventional shoulder, like a 90-degree shoulder, but can also thread to a tapered barrel directly, like without the cherry bomb. And so, I mean, other than, okay, so it has more baffles and a little longer than the Thunder Chicken, but what the important thing to take away here, it's like if you have a tapered barrel bolt gun, like a Fix, or like, I don't know, does the Sig Cross have a tapered barrel? It should, right? Right? Is that like, I don't know. It should. It's a SIG rifle. Shouldn't they do that? I don't know if the SIG's new silencers have tapers. I'm trying to think of another gun. I don't know, like an MCX or something like that. I don't know what else has taper barrels on it. I wish more would. But yeah, if you have a taper barrel bolt gun or a 300 blackout gun, like, one of those SIGs or something, maybe the Full Nelson would be better than like the Thunder Chicken. But then then you can't use the cherry bomb. And so I guess the question is, do you need the cherry bomb? Like, do you want it? I mean, if it's not a short barrel abusive caliber and you don't need to remove and reattach the silencer a lot, dude, I might think that the Full Nelson would be preferred over the Thunder Chicken. And I'm saying that without having published Full Nelson test results or tested it on Supersonic 308. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But I'm just giving you a for instance because we were talking about the cherry bomb. And some of you might be looking at this silencer and you might be considering, or you might be thinking like, I don't want that cherry bomb thing. It's like, okay, well, you don't have to have one. You can buy one of their direct thread models. But then you got to think about, well, what am I putting it on? Do I need the diffusing element if I'm shooting on like a AR-15 and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. The full Nelson is probably, it's most likely quieter than Thunder Chicken is, probably is. Um, they make a half Nelson too, which is kind of like the Trash Panda. So there's that. You know, another tapered silencer, the CGS makes the Hyperion K. It's basically a Helios, but it's made of titanium. So it's lighter and has a tapered dry thread. So it's kind of like a Trash Panda size, more or less, but like probably way quieter than the Trash Panda. Or, I'm sorry, half Nelson, whatever, on Supersonic 308. It's probably quieter. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's got to be, right? Yeah, it's probably quieter because it's like a Helios. So, anyway, we talked about that before. But hey, all in all, the Thunder Chicken is a good silencer, I think. I'll probably get one eventually. I assume I will. I feel like it can do a lot. Wait, did I tell you guys I bought a full Nelson for like nothing? It was a demo unit. Did I tell you guys that? I don't remember if I told you guys that. I might have told you guys that last time. So technically I have a full Nelson, but like it's not approved yet. So I'm gonna have it for like, you know, like in a year, maybe I'll get one. Anyway, I'll let you know. Oh man, wouldn't that be neat if I had it like right now? I could test it like this weekend. All in due time. All in all, the Thunder Chicken's a good silencer, I think. I think it can do a lot, and a lot of the things it does pretty well. You know, right now, as far as silencers that fit to, you know, to a QD type mount, you know, that is like not directly to the barrel threads, the Thunder Chicken is pretty high on the performance curve, guys. It really is. I mean, look at stuff. Look at the weight. Look at the suppression. All right. Look at the things that can go wrong with mounting as far as concentricity goes. And look at the Thunder Chicken and you decide. Okay, for supersonic performance, which is what we're talking about right now, you can do worse. So, for subsonic, we'll have to see. It could be real good. I don't know. I think it's going to be real good. I would assume. So yeah. So that's I know the Thunder Chicken is super popular on short barrel 300 blackout. Like that's its thing, right? So it might be something to look out for. Okay, that's enough about that. If you guys have any questions about it, shoot me an email, send me a DM, whatever you want. The review's up on pewscience.com. There's a really good comparison chart. Oh, you know what? Oh no, I was gonna talk about. You know what? If you're a member, yeah. Okay, so Pew Science members, if you get a chance in the members review, look at the waveforms of the shooter's ear, and you tell me what you think about that impulse and how crazy low it is, like late time. Okay. That was something that I thought was like wild, and the CGS was still quieter, and that was something I was just like, that blew my mind. So I'm sure some of you have seen that, and you're like, what? So that was one thing I wanted to talk about for members. Now, for all of you, the figure 7 in the review of the Thunder Chicken, I didn't put all the 308 silencers in there, but I did put a lot of them. And these new charts I've been doing, instead of doing the suppression rating in a relative way, I've been putting the actual absolute suppression ratings on there so you can take them directly to the chart so there's no confusion. And so I can put ear and muzzle on the same chart, because if you do and separate them out like that, which I think is good, if you'll notice that the Thunder Chicken has a little bit lower back pressure than the Sandman TI, which I thought was interesting. And you know, the Sandman series is supposed to have lower back pressure in general. Just do it with its baffle. And so the fact that the Thunder Chicken has lower back pressure and is quieter at the muzzle, it does show that the volume is doing something, which I thought was interesting. That's cool. And then, but it's not doing a lot, right? Because you wouldn't expect to do it a lot. Because think about how high the pressure is. So you're not getting something for nothing. It's not nothing crazy, right? So that was one cool finding that you can see. Be sure to check out that chart if you haven't, guys. Figure 7 in the review, in review 620. It's at the bottom, because that's really going to show you how this thing stacks up so far. And don't worry, there's more reviews coming, and you'll see some more quiet silencers. You'll see some more of the full-size silencers compared together. But these are sort of like the quietest silencers so far, to kind of show you, like, comparison all in one chart. I hope that helps. I think that's helping some folks. I'm received some good feedback about those charts. I think people like those. So, let me know if you want to see some special chart or something. If you're a member, go ahead and email me, and I will do my best for you. Okay, topic 4. What are we doing? Oh man, we're over an hour already. That's okay. I just have 2 more topics. Yeah, they're not that long. We'll be all right. Okay, topic 4. Ammunition shipment finally arrived from Discreet Ballistics. Yay, it's in the other room. I'm looking at it right now. I can see it on my dining table. I can see it. 500 rounds of Discreet Ballistics subsonic 300 blackout. Remember I told you I was going to test this past Labor Day weekend? This stuff, I thought this stuff was going to get here Friday. It got here today. So turns out I couldn't test, but that's okay. I had a lot to do anyway, and I've been doing some apparatus stuff. It's good. It's actually good that I had this. I didn't have it. It wouldn't have been as good a program if I went. I'm glad that there was a delay. So now the trifecta for subsonic. We get with Discreet Ballistics subsonic, S&B subsonic, and then we have the supersonic Wolf, which is the wild card. So we're a go. That's like 1,500 rounds. Well, I've fired some S&B already. It's less than 1,500 rounds of ammo, but between the 3 types. So we're a go. 8-inch bolt gun. The minifix will be the host for that. And then maybe even some 7-inch AR, with my Most Tech upper. Depending on what I want to do with that, I might function test it so we can test it on the same lower without the A5. So we all know that'll work. We already know that'll work. I wonder if it'll work with this Surefire bolt carry group, that 300 blackout upper. Huh. I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. I guess we could find out if I have time. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that. So we'll round out that 300 blackout testing with 5.56. Got plenty of 5.56 ammo. It's all going to be supersonic 5.56, of course. We're not going to test subsonic 5.56. That's called 22. I'm never going to test subsonic 5.56 because that's. Don't even ask. It's dumb. We're not doing it. You don't even need to know about that. It's a dumb thing to do. So this could be a very solid and in-depth test matrix coming up. Not going to test a huge variety of silencers in this series. This is more that we're going to be varying ammo and host a lot because we want to compare those type of variables. And we're going to give some performance baselines. So this is going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be, I think, really good. And in a perfect world, I think we would have all the silencers that we have tested previously, like that you've seen. In a perfect world, I would have all those right now, and then I would just test them all on these hosts, like right now. And that's going to happen. It's just not right now. Like, it just can't. But it will come eventually. Now, the test matrix does need some good planning. I have the rest of this week to finalize it. For one silencer I do have a mount coming, hopefully from a company, so I can test it on 5.56. I hope that comes. If I don't get that mount in time, that's okay. And that silencer will only be tested on 300 blackout. But hopefully that comes. Gosh, I really hope I get that for this weekend. If not, we're gonna have to wait till the next time. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll probably check with them tomorrow and see. I mean, what's tomorrow, Wednesday? So if I checked with them, they could theoretically overnight it to me. Pay them for it. Anyway, we'll see. But yeah, so that's some testing soon. Hopefully the stars align this weekend. I looked at some of the weather, looked good. I'm not making any promises, but that's my goal. That's my goal. Get some good data. Okay. Topic 5. Welcome to new Pew Science members. Thank you so much for your support. There's some housekeeping items. Some of you members, real quick, I want to tell you about. So there's been a couple of you who have wanted to change your membership from a monthly membership to the annual membership. I've gone ahead and I've done that for you. Just corresponded with one gentleman about it. One thing to know is that if I do that, it's gonna reflect that in the billing system. Okay, we're gonna figure that out. You're gonna get your prorated membership and everything. But it's not going to reflect it in the login system necessarily because it's two different systems and I can't get the coding just can't get it to change both. But rest assured, your account has been noted. It's all fine in the billing system. If you have any questions about that, just email me. I'll send you a screenshot of your account that I changed it. Like I've already done that for a couple of you. So if you want, just want to let you know, I really appreciate the members that have wanted to support annually. That's super great. That's like really great, guys. And that's really helping Pew Science. So thank you. And I wanted to tell you guys that. So it can be done. You can change your membership, but I have to go in there and do it for you. It's a whole thing, but I will do that if you desire. Oh, real quick, I wanted to shout out Surefire. I spoke with Barry Duke. He's the dude who designed the Surefire silencers. And then also, there's a gentleman named Andrew Wright. I guess he does some of their marketing, some other stuff, I believe. So shout out to those gentlemen. We had a really great meeting last week. They sent me a mount so I can retest some Surefire silencers. I had just been discussing some results with those gentlemen. I have some data that I think will be really, really interesting for Surefire and also interesting to the public, but I need to retest some of the silencers using a different mount. So the one they sent me, so I can quantify the differences. And I want to make sure I really want to make sure I'm giving you guys data that is really representative of what you can expect. But I did want to mention them really quickly because they showed some excitement to interact with Pew Science, and they were very open with me. And they're a very large company, and so I thought that was cool. I continue to interact with a few silencer companies, so some more than others. So I wanted to give you guys that general update as well. Communication has, I will say, communication has actually been completely cut off from a few companies, to the point where they're just completely dark on comms, and like they're probably never going to talk to me, which is fine. We'll see how that shakes out, but I just want to let you guys know it is not all roses. For every great company, there's not a little bit of a, I don't even know what you want to call that. A discontinuity, a discontinuity in the continuum. Speaking of the future, speaking of the positive things, FFL application is in the mail. That's right. So Pew Science is pursuing SOT status. So when that happens, hopefully this year, Pew Science will be accepting silencers directly from folks for testing. I think I spoke about this last time. We're no longer going to need a third-party SOT. So that's going to be great. So really, any silencer that exists in the wild will be fair game for testing. It won't matter. As long as the silencer is legal, it will be fair game. As long as the owner of the silencer is okay with it, I'm not going to come to your house and take your silencers. Don't worry. gonna steal your stuff. I mean, could you imagine, like, you wake up, I'm just standing over your bed, and I'm like, bro, I'm here for your silencer. Oh, he's so weird. Oh, that's okay. That's dark. Look, your silencer's gonna be in good hands. We'll shoot 5 to 10 rounds through it, and return it to you with a thank you note. Or maybe even something else. Look, I don't want to speak out of turn here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really need to think about how I'm going to structure that. Like, look, once the date gets closer, like once this gets more real, and the red tape is actually gone, we'll see. I don't want to count my chickens, but hopefully that all goes through. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. If not, we're going to do what we can to make it a reality. Look, the end game, no matter what I have to do, I'm going to make that happen. I don't want to count my chickens. I'm just saying. The end game will be a peace science SOT operational in the United States for domestic operations and even import of foreign products. So buckle up for that, buckaroos. Buckle up. We can accept things now from export. It's fine. It's just that, like, this is just going to streamline things. So, like, nothing's really changing. Like, we're still going to have silencers just like we do now. It's just that this is like one step closer to total domination. No, I'm just kidding. I'm half kidding. If you're following along home, that means that Form 1 testing will eventually be super speedy, super fast. Logistically, like we can probably do that now if we wanted. I just don't want to right now, just for a few reasons. I think that this is going to make that much easier. I think I mentioned it last time. I've been interacting with more and more Form 1 folks online, the Form 1 communities. I say communities because they're like everywhere. I know some of you folks are listening. There are some Pew Science members that are really big in the Form 1 community. You guys know who those guys are. And so in the future, in the future, I am thinking of structuring it. Like, I thought of one idea. You guys let me know what you think. I thought of one idea, like a group buy. Remember those, like you go on those gun forums and, some manufacturers on the gun forum, and they come out with something and they're like, well, we want to sell this. You guys are super cool. We're going to do a group buy. And like, if we get like 15 or 20 people, then we'll let you have this thing for like 15% off. And then everyone's like, yeah, I'm in. And then like everyone posts, and then like they all put their name in the hat. And then all of a sudden, like the vendor does a production run and everyone gets their price and everyone's happy, but they all have to wait for it. Like, I was thinking about that and I was like, what if we went on like a Form 1 forum and we're like, hey, Pew Science Form 1 silencer sound testing group buy. And then everyone put their name in the hat and they all paid like a small amount. And they were like, yeah, I'm gonna get my silencer tested. And then everyone sends their silencer and we do a huge test program. Then we like compare them all and then we like do a shootout and we chart them all on the same chart. And we're like, dude, look at this one. Oh, dude, look at that one. Oh man, that one's so good. And then like watch it like beats like the factory silencers. And then maybe someone gets famous. I don't know. That's a really cool like idea. Now in practicality, there are some potential issues with that. I'm sure you guys are counting them on both your hands right now. It's going to be a lot of work, for example. Like, that's a lot of analysis time that takes away from Pew Science time on other stuff. I'd have to get permission from you and say, can I publish your data? Things like that, because it's your product that you're sending me. Like, it's not like a publicly available product I could just go buy. Like, I want to tell you guys something about that. I don't know if a lot of you, even the manufacturers listening right now, I mean, I know a lot of you already know this, but I think it bears repeating. If you produce a publicly available silencer product that I can buy at a store, and Pew Science tests that product, and Pew Science wants to publish that test data on pewscience.com, and you guys didn't pay for the test, so the test was like funded by Pew Science. In other words, like I conducted an effort on my own accord, then I don't need your permission to publish the data on my website. Like, I don't know why, like, and all of you guys know that, and there's been no problems with the folks I've talked to so far. Like, everyone knows that. Like, in fact, like, I call the manufacturers beforehand and I speak with them and say, hey, I tested your product. Like, you don't know me. I'm Jay. Nice to meet you. If you would like, it would be really cool if I talk about the test data with you, because I want to show you what it shows, and I hope that this is transparent and that you find this interesting about your product. And almost all the silencer manufacturers that I say that to are like, cool, and like we talk and it's all good. You know, I think there's some silencer manufacturers think that like they have some kind of say in it. Like they're gonna change what I'm doing because they don't want me to test their silencer. And it's like I want to do the right thing and say, like, hi, I'm Jay. I tested your silencer. This is how it did. Like, let's talk about it. But like, I'm never gonna say, okay, no, I'm never gonna put your silencer on the website because you told me not to. It's like, no, man. If you're selling a product to a consumer and a consumer can buy it, and I have consumers paying a membership fee to fund public research on hearing damage from guns, your silencer is going to be on the website. Like, and the silencer, and that silencer that gets tested might be from the dude 2 blocks down from me that emailed me and is like, dude, I live in your local area and I have a XYZ silencer, and if you want to test it, you totally can. And have already been folks, I talked about this on the last episode, like there's already been some folks with OSS silencers and Knights Armament silencers that have reached out to me, and we're going to test their silencers. So if there are manufacturers listening that would like to talk about that, like I'm open to it. It's no problem. tech@pewscience.com. That's TECH@pewscience.com. Reach out anytime. We can schedule a conference call. I'll be glad to talk with you. I'll talk with your marketing folks. I'll talk with your engineers. I'll talk with your operations people. I'm not shy. I can even do a web meeting, do a whole PowerPoint for you if you like. It's whatever you like. I want to make sure this is open and transparent, but I did want to I know most of the people that listen to this podcast understand that, but I know we have a lot of new listeners, and so I wanted to iterate it for them, but also for any manufacturers that are listening and think maybe they're nervous about us testing their silencers for some reason, or they don't want us to, and it's like, look, like, don't be nervous. Like, if I test your silencer and it's super loud, chances are the people that have that silencer already know it's loud. So don't get too upset about that. And then, like, I'm not going to say anything, like, everything I publish is factual, so people are going to find out anyway. So don't get upset about it. It's not like I disparage anyone. So, I mean, you can look at all the reviews. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just stating facts. And I think people are appreciating that. Now, if you want testing done because of research purposes, and you're going to fund that research, and you're a Pew Science client, and we test your silencer, then you have the right of that data, and you own that data because you bought it. Then that's your data, and we can't publish it unless you say, hey, Jay, our silencer did really well. Or, hey, Jay, we thought these results were interesting. Would you like to publish it? Or I might ask you, do you mind if I publish this? And you might say, sure. And I say, cool, I'll publish it. But I'm going to say on the website, this work was conducted under Pew Science contract, blah, 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 sponsored in part by company XYZ. Here's the data. And then it'll have that disclaimer on there in black and white so consumers can see, oh, okay, a manufacturer funded that test. Okay, copy that. Okay, and you can make your own conclusions, right? You can think it's biased if you want. That's fine. It's not, but you can think that. That's fine. But we'll put the information on there so everyone's happy, and then you'll be fine. Or I might say, hey, company XYZ, that was a great test program. Would you mind if I publish that test data on pewscience.com? And you might say, heck no. That is proprietary, and that's our data. You cannot publish that. And I'd be like, Roger that. Roger that, company XYZ. That is, okay, have a great day. Here's your PDF. Or here's your USB stick or whatever. Here's your data. Have a great day. I look forward to working with you again in the future. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. Like, I just want to make sure, like, does this all make sense to everybody? This is all on the frequently asked questions on pewscience.com. If you guys do have questions, there is a questions page, that frequently asked questions on pewscience.com. You can get to it through the menu. I think if you go services and support, there's questions. You can scroll down there, hit questions, and there's a whole thing. And at the very top of the page, it says, are you really independent? I said, yeah. Pew Science is really independent. And then I basically tell you exactly what I just told you right now. And yeah, so to date, all the data you guys have seen on pewscience.com has not been paid for by a manufacturer. The only thing that has funded the test data that you've seen so far has been Pew Science member contributions, not a contract. Okay, now our contracts are not published. We do not publish our testing contracts on pewscience.com. Pew Science has clients that are manufacturers. We do not publish our contractual information unless it is publicly publishable through permission. Okay. So I just want you guys to know that. So if you guys are wondering, well, how come you don't show us who your clients are? It's like, it's not your business. That's why. It's not your business. So anyway, just want to let you guys know, I know that was like a lot of information, but because there are so many people listening to this from all different parts of the industry, I want you to understand how it works. And I don't want there to be any ambiguity. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that this is transparent, and we're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. We're not trying to disparage manufacturers. We're not some kind of marketing juggernaut where we're going to start marketing a company and not marketing your company. Or I want to quash all that. There's all kinds of people saying all kinds of stuff. I don't want you to think that's true. That's stupid. Okay? Like if you want your silencers tested and they're public, it's just a matter of time. If you want them tested faster and you want first access to the results and you want to get more in-depth results and you want to own the data, then hit the request for quote button on pewscience.com or email me at tech@pewscience.com. We'll talk about it. But if you're a silencer manufacturer and you don't like Pew Science because you don't like me, and you want to prevent us from testing silencers, you can, that's fine, but I'm going to test your silencers. So eventually, consumers want it. And so we work for the public. Pew Science is for the people. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so given all that, if you would like to support this podcast, if you would like to support Pew Science testing, if you would like to support further development of the suppression rating, basically what I'm saying is if you want to support everything Pew Science does, you can join with a membership at pewscience.com. It's a relatively small monthly subscription, and you can cancel anytime. There's no contract. It's no obligation. In return for your support, I'll give you some more data and some members only content that it's fairly technical, but the feedback has been good on the content so far. I have received some very constructive criticism lately. Some people are telling me that they find my articles really hard to read. And I respect that. Maybe I need to streamline them. Maybe I need a new format. I am duplicating the format because it's for expediency, and I think it's a good format for me to show you data, I thought. But if folks are looking for a different format, I think I can do that for you. What I might do is I might try a different format in some of the newer stuff I publish, and then we can kind of ask you guys, well, hey, I'm trying a new format. Did you guys like this? I know some of you are used to the way it's going right now. I'm not going to change the data, but maybe it's the presentation. What I've always been concerned with is I don't want someone coming to the website and they see it for the first time, and then they see that they come there for like that one silencer, and they're like, oh, well, they're not showing blah, blah, blah. And then they go to another one and they're like, oh, this is so much better. I guess you never know until you try, right? I've had some feedback, and some folks have been telling me that they would help me. They would say, yeah, like I can give you some suggestions, but then they never gave me suggestions. So it's like, cool. Like if you don't like the format, like I respect that. That's awesome. But if you want it to change, we'll give you some ideas. And then maybe like I can help you or something. I don't know. I'll give it some thought, but I only have so much time. So if you're not going to give me anything specific, it's going to be real hard for me to. I basically have to reinvent the wheel, and then I don't know. Like I said, I might change it up. Maybe I can offer like a simplified format, or maybe I can put the summary at the end. Maybe I can put that up front. That way you read that first, and then that's all like a compact one and done thing. And then say for details, see below or something. Like I was thinking that, you know what I mean? So you didn't have to scroll down. I was just figuring like if you wanted to read, just scroll down and then you get the answer anyway. I don't know. Maybe I could be overthinking this. Anyway, like I said, it's fairly technical, but hey, there's one number at the top of every review, so there's that. Then you have the thing in italics and bold at the bottom, the subjective opinion. That should cover the rest. I think most folks are liking it. Like I said, give me feedback, tech@pewscience.com. We're quantifying the tone of silencers, which you can't get anywhere else. So that's what our members are getting that too. And also members get almost no ads in the reviews, so that's nice. So anyway, if you enjoy this stuff, another thing that can help that doesn't cost you anything, go on iTunes, give us that 5-star rating. It's going to help the ranking algorithm. It's going to help Pew Science exposure, and it's going to help with future testing opportunities. It's going to give you more data. It's going to give you more content. So keep the questions coming. Keep the interest coming. Thank you so much to the members. Thank you everyone that has been tagging us in stuff on Instagram and Reddit and Facebook and all these different social media platforms. It's really cool. You guys are really getting the word out there, and it's really working. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to show you guys some more data. So hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Take it easy. Bye.